Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going deep into the engine room of some really high-stakes AV setups.
Yeah, we're talking about places like sports bars, casinos, command centers, places where you just can't afford for a screen to go black.
Exactly. And our mission is to look at one small piece of that puzzle, the WolfPack 1080p HDMI Output Card. It's part number MM1080POU2 card.
Right, and it's a $250 component.
So the big question is, how does this one card ensure maximum uptime and, versatility in a huge modular matrix?
Well, the context is everything. These cards slot into massive matrix switchers. Think 9x9, 18x18, even 36x36 systems.
Where a total failure would be catastrophic.
Absolutely. So the whole design philosophy is about mitigating that risk. It's a single port slide-in module that you can swap out in seconds. It really minimizes operational halt.
Okay, that hot swap idea makes immediate sense from a maintenance perspective.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, isn't a fixed chassis, simpler? How does this modular approach actually make things more reliable?
It's all about eliminating downtime. If you have a signal failure on one port in a fixed chassis, you're in for a logistical nightmare.
You'd have to send the entire 36x36 unit back for repair.
Exactly. Here, you just pull the one affected card, slot in a spare, and you're back up and running. The output stage is basically treated as a disposable, replaceable part. In a commercial environment, that saves a huge amount of money and time.
Speaking of time, the spec sheet claims seamless switching at 100 milliseconds. That's just a tenth of a second. How is that even possible? What's the trick?
It's a pretty clever way of, cheating the usual process. Normally when you switch sources, the display has to do an ED'd hop to negotiate resolution.
And an HDCP handshake for the copy protection.
Right, and that all takes time. This card's engine does both of those things simultaneously. And while it's doing that, it uses an internal frame buffer to keep the last signal active.
So the screen never goes black.
It never goes black. The switch appears instantaneous to the human eye. And this is all while it's handling up to 10.2 gigabits per second of bandwidth.
That is impressive. And for people managing high-end content, it's important to mention it supports HDMI 1.4, HDCP 1.4, and full 1080p 4.4.4 HDR.
Which means zero color compression, top-tier image fidelity, plus up to 48-bit deep color.
Okay, let's shift gears a little from raw speed to adaptability, because that's another area where this thing seems to shine.
For integrators, that versatility is a huge selling point.
I've seen a lot of talk about its hardware scaling. You could do the big TV video walls, of course, but it has a physical 8-pin DIP switch on it. Why go with a manual switch like that?
Because in the real world, you run into all sorts of weird legacy displays or screens with odd resolutions.
And automated scaling just fails.
It can fail to handshake correctly, yes. The DIP switch is a physical override. It lets an installer force the output to the exact resolution a finicky display needs. It just solves so many of those persistent compatibility headaches.
A really practical solution. Now, what about the audio? I see it has a 3.5 millimeter de-embedded stereo output. How is that used?
This is one of its best features. When you pair this with its companion input card, you get total audio independence.
Meaning you can show video from one source,
while you're routing completely separate audio from another source through the matrix. And we're talking high-end formats too, like 7.1 Dolby Digital, True HD, DTS HD.
I see. So for like a lecture hall or a retail space, you could have a video presentation on screen with background music coming from a totally different input.
Precisely. And for controlling it all, the integration is seamless. You've got your WebGUI RS232, and it plays nice with all the major control systems like Crestron and Control4.
And the command structure looks clean. I saw an example.
Oh, boy.
By 1 and 8 and 16.
Yep. That's it. That one simple command tells the system to switch input 8 to outputs 1, 8, and 16 instantly. It really speaks the language of professional integration.
Now, this level of reliability doesn't happen by accident.
Not at all. There's a really rigorous 6-step testing process for every component. That includes a full 24-hour aging process in a special testing room.
And they back it up with a 2-year WolfPack Care warranty.
The advanced replace warranty, yeah. They promise to get you a replacement unit usually within 24 hours. That's a serious commitment to uptime.
So at the end of the day, what this all means for you is you're getting a component that isn't just about high performance. It's engineered from the ground up to cut your operational costs by making maintenance simple and compatibility a non-issue.
It really is designed for the worst-case scenario.
Which brings me to a final thought. We've talked about how important seamless switching is in a sports bar or a public venue. So think about this. What's the psychological difference for a viewer between that instantaneous 100 millisecond transition and even a half-second delay where the screen flickers.
That's a great question.
That tiny visual hiccup. It might be the difference between keeping someone's attention locked on the screen or losing them entirely to some other distraction. It's something to mull over.